Okay, so we are recording. Welcome everybody to our webinar today. This is Content Equals Leads webinar. We're going to talk about strategy, content, and commitment. And my name is Valerie Van Boeven. I'll be your presenter today. I'm going to do some introductions in just a second. Just so you know, we will be having people join us as the webinar goes on. But we will take questions at the end of the webinar. So I'm going to leave plenty of time for that. This isn't a super long presentation, so I'll leave plenty of time to answer your questions live. Here's what we do. Because so many people are on the line and so many people register for these, you need to type your questions in. There's a little questions area. You can type a question in any time you want. You don't have to wait till the end of the webinar. I will go through them on a first come, first serve basis. Once we get done, I'll just go through the list and get everything, all the questions answered. And then George will help me with that too. And so we're going to go ahead and get started. This presentation is being recorded, and we will put it out and send it to you. It'll be a YouTube video once we get it done and rendered, and I'll send that replay out to everyone. Okay, so introductions and agenda. Let's get everything up here. Let me just get all of our bullets up here. Okay, so my name is Valerie Van Boeven again, and George Novison is with us. Hi, George.
Hi, Valerie. Welcome, everybody.
And George and I are the co-owners of LTC Expert Publications. On our agenda today, we're going to talk about content. Content. It's our life anymore these days online. So we're going to talk about how to use multiple pieces and streams of content with one article or one piece of content, turn it into multiple items that you can use. How to rid yourself of the content conundrum forever. Examples of how other agencies are using content to increase their visibility and acquire new leads, new clients. If you're an independent home care agency owner, we're going to discuss your challenges and advantages. And if you're a home care franchise owner, we will show you how to make any content plan work for you without upsetting the apple cart at corporate. And we'll talk about a few other things. I have lots of pictures to show you and lots of good stuff. So here we go. So we're going to talk about why content is so important in 2013. Well, it's always been important, but the right kind of content is important. First of all, it's what your audience wants. You all are in the business of elder care. Not all of you are home care agency owners, but most of you are, or you're marketers of home care or some elder care, senior care service. So your audience is looking for solutions, and so your content needs to revolve around the solutions and information and education about all the things that relate to seniors, senior health, elder care, home care. You know, what are we going to do now is usually the problem, and you all need to be the people who provide the solution. That's what your audience wants. They want to hear from you because your organization needs to be the problem solvers for adult children of aging parents and other family members and seniors. And Google is eliminating spam and junk and rewarding excellence. So you can't just throw any old goofy thing up there on the internet anymore and see yourself on the first page of Google overnight. There was a time back in 2008 when you could do that, but you can't do that anymore. So now we have to have excellent content at all times, and it has to be unique, and we're going to talk about that. And Google is requiring proof now. They want to see your face or someone in your organization's face next to that excellent content. They want you to own it. They want you to say, here's my face. I'm willing to put my reputation, my face next to this content and tell you that I wrote it and tell you that I am the person responsible for it. And when you provide proof, your search engine optimization is complete, and you can move up the Google ranks pretty quickly. So we'll talk about that. That's called Google authorship. We've already done a webinar on that, but we'll talk about it just a little bit. So what does Google really want? Not just content, but excellent content, like I said. They want something that's engaging, that people want to read, that people are going to ask questions about, that people are going to give a thumbs up to. They don't want someone else's content, not copied content, not duplicate content. They don't want you to take a piece from the New York Times and break it up into 3 different articles and post it on your blog. That's not what they're looking for. It's duplicated, and it's not going to get indexed. They want original, unique, engaging, and educational content on the internet. Google, when someone types in a search for home care in St. Augustine, Florida, they don't want to see a bunch of junk. They want to see something that is worthwhile. And that is what you need to provide, and you need to do it all the time in order to be the person that family is going to trust. So where do you put that? They want this content on your website, on your blog, and on other websites that are attributed to you. So in other words, they want you to be a guest blogger. They want you to be the expert in your field. So when you can show that you're the expert on your own website, but also show that you're the expert on other websites that talk about elder care, then boy, oh boy, oh boy, are you the go-to person in your community. So, and I'll show you what that looks like. So when you have great content, what happens? When you do all of this, when you do it right, your website moves up in the search engines, meaning that if you were on page 10 for the search phrase home care St. Augustine, Florida, now you're going to be on the first page. It doesn't happen overnight, once again, but it will help. Your business becomes more visible. Your reputation becomes more visible. Your willingness to engage with your community becomes more visible. That's what you need to be doing. Believe it or not, your community is online these days. People are sitting at work online. They're sitting at home online. They're searching for solutions. They're searching for conversation. They're searching for answers. They're looking for information from other people who may be in the same position that they're in now with their aging parents. They want you to engage with them and talk to them. And you don't have to do that live every minute of every day, but by providing good content, you are, in a sense, engaging with them. Your community turns to you for help solving elder care problems, and that turns into leads. So I'm going to show you what that looks like again in just a second, a picture of that. But if you are the engager, if you are the problem solver who reaches out to your local community and you do it regularly, you will be the person that folks go to because you're the one they find on the internet. You're the one with the answers. You're the one that shows up most of the time, and you're the one that's out there. So the more content you have out there, the better off you'll be, the more leads you'll generate. They come in all forms. I can't even tell you how many different ways our clients get leads because of their content. It's all a big ball of putting the content out there, and you touch somebody 10 times in 10 different ways. Maybe you saw them at a senior fair, or they were referred to you by a friend and they didn't do anything about it. Then they go online, or they saw your commercial on TV or your radio, or they go online and they look around for your name, and boom, 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 they're finding all kinds of things that you've written, all kinds of community involvement that you have, and they make that phone call finally. So it takes all kinds of ways to reach out to your community, and now online is one of the most important ones because that's the last place they're going to go when it's time to make that call. They're going to look for you online. So what is content? What constitutes good content? Blog posts. Blog posts don't have to be really super long, so there's a difference between a blog post and an article. A blog post needs to be about 500 words, and that's 2 or 3 little paragraphs. It doesn't have to be really long, but anything under 500 words has a lesser chance of getting indexed. You want to make sure it's about 500 words, and that's really not that hard to do. Articles can be much longer than that. They could be 1,000 words. They could be 2,000 words. They could be 700 words, but articles are typically a little longer than a blog post. I guess the terminology is interchangeable, but typically a blog post is shorter and an article is much longer. Guest posts, that means that you've written a piece of content that can go on someone else's website, either as an article or a blog post on a specific topic. Videos, audio, and photos. All of these are considered online content. Anything you can make into a file. In fact, I didn't put on here, but PDFs, Word documents, all of these things are pieces of content, and you can use those to your advantage. So we're going to talk about some of these options and what to do with them. So where do you get great content? And so I'm going to tell you a couple of different ways to do this. The hard way is to do it all by yourself, because what I'm telling you is that you need to be providing content every single week without fail. One time a week is maybe enough, but I would say if it were me and I had to put content out there. I can tell you that on our websites, some of them don't see content for a couple of weeks because we're so busy, but there's at least one website in our arsenal of sites that sees 3 to 4 pieces of content a week at a minimum. And we do that because we know that if we don't, we will fall significantly behind in the search engine because of the competition. So the hard way is to do it all by yourself. You can write it, you can record it, you can snap it, which means take a picture, or you can contribute it. You can do all these things yourself. So it only costs your time to do that. And for some of you, that may mean it costs a lot because your time is extremely valuable and you're worth an hourly rate, whether you're the owner of a business or you're the marketer or whoever you are, you have an hourly rate. You can calculate that on your own, but this is going to cost you your time when you do it yourself. So you need to have a strategy. You need to be able to provide some commitment to this, and you need to have some creativity. So you can do all of these things. There are certainly hundreds and hundreds of elder care, senior care, home care content pieces that can be written because trust me when I say we probably have 100 unique articles written per week. So we're looking at somewhere between 400 and 500 unique articles a month that we have written for our clients. So I can tell you that it is possible, and it does happen, and it is possible for you to do it. If I can do it, and I don't do it by myself, trust me, but if we can do it, you can do 1 article a week. So this is something that does require strategy and commitment. When I say strategy, that means maybe you need to think about what's coming up in the next month. So we're in September now. We know that Grandparents' Day is coming up. We know that this is, I think, older adult or I guess Senior Health Month or something like that. And there could be all kinds of things. Some of you may be participating in the Alzheimer's Walk. It may be happening in September for you. There could be all kinds of different reasons why you can generate 1 piece of content each week. Maybe it's a recipe. Maybe it's a tip from one of your caregivers that you thought was interesting and you want to elaborate on it. Maybe you just want to tell people about an experience. Maybe it's a testimonial that's a nice long letter from someone that used your services or family that used your services, and they are going to allow you to put it online. That's a great piece of content. Testimonials are probably the most original and the best ones to use. So think about what's coming up in the month of September and how you can create sort of an editorial calendar or something that you can plot out what you're going to have for each week of the month to go up new and fresh on your website. If your website remains stagnant and you do nothing, and you do not change it, and you do not add to it, and you do not search engine optimize it, and you do not put fresh content on it, it will eventually fall off the search engines. So strategy, commit to it, and then think about it in a creative way. You don't have to write 4 articles on how to manage incontinence. You can spice it up, make it fresh. There's all kinds of resources online that will give you something fun to write, how to engage children with seniors, that need senior care. What kind of crafts can an Alzheimer's client do that maybe seem simple for other people but would be perfect for someone with memory problems. What are the kind of things that you can write about? So this is how you do it if you do it all by yourself, but you have to do it in order to get the leads. You will never generate leads from your website if your website doesn't meet certain criteria. You need to have a great call to action, and you need to have fresh content so that it's constantly being found on the internet in different places. If you're not able to do that, you should outsource it. So where do you get great content? Okay, so, well, we talked about where you get it, but how can you use it in multiple ways? So let's say you write 1 long article on different craft ideas for seniors with Alzheimer's disease. You could divide that into 2 or 3 smaller blog posts. You could record an audio of it. There's a great program called Audacity that you can download onto your computer. If you have a microphone, you can make an audio MP3 recording of your voice reading the article. Of course, you probably want to make it engaging and fun, but you can always use that as a piece of content. You can turn it into a PowerPoint presentation, just like the one you're watching here. You can turn it into a video, just like we're going to do with this PowerPoint presentation. You could turn it into a downloadable PDF. So you might want to have a free article or free white paper on the top 10 craft ideas for Alzheimer's clients, and that may be something that people can, you can hand out, and maybe something that you can put on your website as a download on some page. There's all kinds of things that you can do with one piece of content. You can mix it up and make it into multiple pieces of content over time. So there's all kinds of ways to be engaging with your community, and all of this stuff can go on Facebook and other places on the web, which we'll talk about. So if you have that great content and you've used it in multiple ways, here are the places where you should put it. An article. You can submit articles to, there's always all kinds of free article sites. I'm not sure how effective that really is, but it's not too bad. Easy and Articles has really cleaned up their act and are back in good favor with Google, so you can put your articles on easyinarticles.com. Or you might contribute your article to an authority site on elder care. Just know that you should only use your article probably in one place, so or one or two places. So if you contribute to an authority site, that's great, but you want to mix up those blog posts a little bit so they're not a duplicate of that article. So if there's an authority site that will allow you to post content on there, you might write your article and then post it on that site. Blog posts, divide it up and post it on your own website. And then you need to post the blog post links to your Facebook page. So in other words, whatever that link is to that blog post, you need to make sure that ends up on Facebook, that it ends up on Twitter, that it ends up on Pinterest. You can pin the photo that goes with the article, and you can put a link back to your article from Pinterest. You can post the blog post links to your LinkedIn account. Lots of readership on LinkedIn. Post the links to your Google Plus account. If you don't have one, you should. If you're our client, you already do. In fact, you have all of these. PowerPoint. If you turn it into a PowerPoint, which is what, I've created this presentation in a PowerPoint. Later on, not today probably, but we will post it to SlideShare. It won't be downloadable, but it will be search engine optimized, and it'll be on SlideShare. And also on a website called scribed.com. So this PowerPoint can be turned into a PDF. I can put this PDF on Scribed on my website. I can put it on Facebook. I can put it in multiple places, and we do that. A video, if you turn it into a video, you can put it on YouTube. You can put it on your website. You can put it on Vimeo, which is another channel sort of like, or another website sort of like YouTube. But typically YouTube is going to be really the only one you may ever get traffic from. Vimeo is used a lot, but I don't think it has nearly the traffic. In fact, I think they're oceans apart as far as traffic goes. So these are all the places that we put content. Authority sites, blog posts, social media accounts, the big ones, SlideShare, Scribed, YouTube, Vimeo, websites, downloadable PDFs. You don't have to do all of these things, but if you do a majority of these things with every single piece of content that you generate, then you will see yourself moving up in the search engine results very quickly. Okay, so how are other agencies using content to their advantage? So I'm going to show you some screenshots of some folks that are our clients that we do the content provisioning for them, and I'm going to show you what it looks like when we do that. So let's say that I am a adult child of an aging parent, and I think my mom needs some live-in home care in Branford, Connecticut. She lives in Branford. She needs live-in home care. So if I typed in live-in home care Branford, Connecticut, what I'm going to find is I'm going to find the liveincareforseniors.com, and I'm going to find an agency called No Place Like Home Care. And I'm going to see that Edwin Hayden is the author of 2 to 3 articles right off the bat, right at the very top of that search engine result. I see his picture. I see that he's contributed articles to a website called Live in Care for Seniors. And the third link down, I see that his own website, No Place Like Home Care, has some testimonials and reviews on it, and I'm probably going to look at those because I want to go with a very good quality home care agency. So these are, guess who's going to get this lead if someone is looking for live-in home care in Branford, Connecticut? Ed Hayden is going to get that because he put content on another site as a guest author. He has Google authorship set up, which we've already done videos on, so I'm not going to go into that so much today. And he has his own website showing up for live-in home care. So this is the person that's going to get this lead if the adult child of the aging parent is looking for help with live-in care in Branford, Connecticut. This is what content looks like when it's done correctly on your website. This is a page. This is actually the newsroom or the blog on No Place Like Home Care. So you can see, now this is a far away screenshot. I tried to get part of the page in here. There's probably about 10 blog posts on this page. You can see that each title of each blog post is search engine optimized for a town in that service area. You can see that some of them are fun and some of them are more serious. And some of them are just purely educational. So you can also see that with every single blog post there is a picture, and you can see that the author of every single blog post is Ed Hayden. And when you look at all those things and you can see that, that is what drives this website to the top of the search engines. Now there are some other things besides that, but you can see the dates on these content pieces, and you can see that there's one content piece per week that's going up in a very nice search engine optimized manner. Okay, so that is a very good content strategy and one that helps this client move to the top of the search engines. This is live-in home care for seniors. You saw that when I typed in live-in care or live-in home care Branford, Connecticut, that Ed Hayden showed up. Well, this is the live-in care for seniors website, and you can see on the right-hand side a list of our live-in care experts. And in the middle, you can see that there's Ed Hayden's his bio, his picture. It's all Google authorship verified. And you can also see that I can't scroll down because this is a screenshot, but if I were to scroll down on this page, you would see multiple articles by Ed that are on this website. These are all unique. They are not duplicated anywhere else. And he is an expert author on this website. So, and all of the links, when you click on one of these articles that he's written, all of the links are that go back to his website. So he's getting lots of backlinks from this site too. Very appropriate, very relevant, and he's a great contributor. This is another picture of what it looks like. I stole this from our last webinar, and this is reducing hospital readmission rates. So if a hospital was doing some research on reducing hospital readmission rates, they would probably see, if they're located in St. Augustine, Florida anyway, the first person that's going to show up there is Amanda Koshinsky and her home care agency. So for all of you out there who know how important it is right now for home care, for hospitals and Medicare providers to reduce hospital readmission rates, you want to be the first home care agency or the first senior service that comes up when someone is considering what they should be doing about reducing their hospital readmission rates, whether it's a physician's office or a hospital or a rehab center. You want to be able to show them online, look, we are the experts in your area, this is what we do, we understand what you need, and here's where we've contributed to some other websites. And you can see that her agency at the very bottom there, it's kind of cut off, but it says Senior Solutions Home Care is reducing hospital readmission rates. There's no better proof in the world for a referral source than to see that you all have written several articles on this. They know then that you understand the problem and that you have a solution. So this is not necessarily for the adult child of the aging parent, but for those important referral sources who are going to send you leads, because they want you to partner with them on reducing hospital readmission rates. Okay, so how does content generate leads? So this is how content generates leads, and we've seen this over and over and over again. Most folks are using Google. 80 to 90%, 99% of all the searches that we see for all of our clients across the board are coming from Google. There are some Bings and some Yahoos, of course, but for the most part, and there's some other scattered stuff out there, but for the most part, it's all coming from Google. So important to you is that you and your website show up on the first page of Google for keyword phrases that are important to you. In this case, Amanda Koshinsky and Senior Solutions Home Care want to show up on the first page of Google for anyone who's searching for home care in St. Augustine, Florida. And indeed, if you see my little red arrow there, you can see that she is the second natural listing on that page with her picture, which is important because she's getting more real estate than anyone else on this page at this point. With her picture, she's showing up not in the paid results, which are the first three at the top, but in the actual natural search engine results. She is going to get this lead on this page. No one else on this entire page, if you were to type this in, has a picture next to their content or their website. She's getting tons of real estate here, and that's really important for her business. Okay, if you wanted home care in Branford, Connecticut, the very first listing that's not paid for, it's not a paid search engine listing, is a natural listing, and it's Ed Hayden's No Place Like Home Care. And then you can also see that there's a homehealthcareagencies.com underneath him, and that is just a directory. And then underneath that, you can see it's kind of cut off. Ed Hayden, owner, No Place Like Home Care, Branford, Connecticut. There he is again with live-in care for seniors. So Ed is all over the place for Branford and many other towns in his area. Okay, so if you were just searching in general for the whole state of New Jersey, which some people would want to show up for the whole state, in this case, our client has 5 offices across the state of New Jersey, so they want to show up for the entire state. So in the state of New Jersey, the first natural listing that you're going to see is lhshomecare.org, which is Liberty Healthcare Services, and that is the listing that is #1 in the entire state of New Jersey. And of course, locally in their little towns, they show up as well. And this is all a result of content. It's search engine optimization of their website. It's the right kind of website, and it is a result of content. In this case, in Jupiter, Florida, if you were to type in Jupiter Home Care Jupiter, Florida, the first person listed there with a picture, third natural search engine result down, is our client David, and that's because he gets excellent content and has a great website. So all of these things are possible. You just have to commit to it, and you have to have a strategy for it, and that'll make your life much, much easier. This is home care in Abington, Massachusetts. This is Han Home Healthcare, and they pretty much are the only people on this page that are going to get a lead because they're the only people that show up. They're the entire page almost. So I just took a screenshot of the first half of the website. This is a result of excellent content. And some other strategies thrown in there, but if that's what you concentrate on, you will get the result you're looking for. This is Houston, Texas, and we have two or three different clients here, but this is all of the pictures I've shown you so far are independent home health care agencies or independent home care agencies. This is an example of 2 franchise owners in the same territory. One just went through a complete revamp of their website, which is Be Synergy Home Care at the top, and we search engine optimized it and took all the content from their old blog and moved it to their new blog. And now where they did not show up for Houston before, or barely, they showed up for Northwest Houston, they are now #1, the first non-paid listing at the top of the search engine results there for Home Care Houston. And then you can also see another one of our clients showing up in the map listings and the big giant map listing there, At Your Side Home Care. It's also a franchise. And so one of these 2 folks are probably going to get the lead because they show up so prominently either via the map or via being one of the first people listed on the site. So that's what content does. Content is driving these results every single day. That's all we do. Okay, so let's talk about some challenges and some advantages and some solutions. So I'm going to first talk about independent home care agencies, independent senior care providers. The challenges are that you're on your own to figure out how to market your home care business. And you know you need to do the networking, and you know you need to have a good online presence, but it's hard to balance that, especially if budgets are tight. You're on your own to choose the best online presence, and that's hard to do because you have local SEO people in your chamber meeting that are whispering in your ear. You have folks like us who specialize in home care but aren't local to you whispering in your ear. It's hard to know who to turn to. I can tell you that, and we just had this conversation with a brand new client, you can go through tons and tons of folks who call themselves SEO experts, but I will tell you this. It is so important in the senior care market that you work with folks who specialize in senior care, because the person who needs the plumber, the consumer who needs a plumber, is not the same person who needs home care for their aging parent. That is two completely different problems that are so far apart. They are oceans and oceans apart from each other. One is a very emotional, very high dollar financial, it's a big decision, giant decision, it's not going to happen overnight. The other person is someone who has a leaky faucet or a flood in their basement and they need help right now, and it is an instant decision because they have to have help. It's maybe an emergency, maybe not, but it's not a life-altering decision. Home care, senior care, elder care choices are life-altering. We all know that from working in this industry. So when you create a website and you create content for your website and you put all the pieces together, if you really want to get leads, the only way to do it is to make sure that you are providing the right kind of content and the right keyword phrases and doing it right the first time around. So that's why I say go with someone who specializes in this. And you're on your own to figure out where your marketing dollars are going to go. And that's the challenge for anybody who's a business owner. The advantages of being an independent home care agency is that you're not tied to a corporate contract with branding rules and regulations, and trust me, there are many. Freedom to choose your website format, the look and the feel, your own logo, your colors, all that's up to you. And the freedom to add content at any time. You can do whatever you want with your website. You don't have to have it approved or ask for permission, and that's just the way it is. And so, you know, if you're independent, you have some challenges and some advantages. Our recommendations are that you build a WordPress website. I would even go so far as to say Joomla is okay, but WordPress is the one that we work with. That's the only kind of website that we build. So the next time you're going down the pike trying to decide what to build, keep in mind that WordPress is the best for search engine optimization and for ease of use and for ease of modification, frankly. Always include well-researched SEO and a blog for content. You have to have an RSS feed coming from your website in order to get the content from one place to another easily. So you want to make sure that you have good keyword phrases in there, not just the words home care, and you want to have a blog so you can add content to it all the time. And if you already have a website that's user-friendly and ready for content, that's great. Don't reinvent the wheel. Have somebody look at it who knows what they're doing and start adding content for you. And the easy way, of course, is to outsource your content needs and make it easy on you. And that's why, of course, we do what we do every day. Is we probably have 100 articles a week written by our writers, and we provide content for all kinds of folks, from franchises to independent home care agencies to national franchises at the corporate level. We do all of it. Okay, so if you're a franchised home care agency or a franchise senior care provider of some kind, it could be anybody who owns a franchise, you know that you must use the website that's provided. It's not always a website that's a well-thought-out platform for local marketing. We have been able to dive into many, many home care franchises and their websites. And the things that we know need to happen oftentimes either have to be modified to make happen or can't happen because of the way the franchise has to set up a website. It's a big undertaking. It's a branding issue. It's a control issue in some regards, but it's something that's kind of a necessary thing for franchises because they're so big usually. You may have limitations on SEO or content if you are a franchise owner on your website, and you must stick closely to branding. So all of those things we are aware of, we understand, and we know, and we still make it work. So the advantages are the franchise provides materials and guidance and probably a person out there to kind of help you get the ball rolling. You may be able to use a third party to assist you with SEO and content, which is awesome because if you can, you should. And use somebody who knows what they're doing. The power of a larger national site helping your smaller local franchisee site or pages is a tremendous advantage. So if you are, and I'm just going to use this as an example, if you're a Comfort Keepers, you have this giant national site behind you that's high, that has a good search engine rank, And it is also powering all the little sites underneath it and helping those folks get a better page rank. So having a big site behind you really helps. So the recommendations for folks who are franchise owners, our recommendations are that you should know what your contract allows you to do with your website and your online presence. What can you do and what can you not do? Find out if you can hire a third party to provide your local SEO content. If you can, you should. If you can hire someone who knows what they're doing. Don't ever, ever, ever outsource content writing to another country that doesn't understand the difference. You know, it could be a writer that may say they're the best writer ever, but if they don't understand Medicare, Medicaid, private duty, and other, VA aid and attendance pension benefit, and all the different pieces of the puzzle that go into someone who is a senior in the United States of America who needs to use private funds or find other ways to finance their long-term care needs. You have to have someone who understands all that, because otherwise the content will sound funny, it won't be right. Trust me, we have had every experience you can imagine. Okay, so you need to load your franchise site with as much localized content as you can. So instead of using their generic articles that they write every week or every other week or so and post out there, that's just duplicated content. Some of you folks out there, I'm thinking, well, almost every large franchise provides some kind of article every week. And I see franchise owners going out and posting that article not only on their little site, but all over LinkedIn groups and places like that. It's just duplicated content. It will absolutely do you no good to do that. You have to write it yourself, and you have to have it, or you have to hire somebody to do it for you, and it has to be unique. Using the franchise provided content will not do you any good in a local market. It does not help. It's duplicate content over hundreds of pages on the internet, and it's never going to make any difference for you. Even if you add your city and state to the name or the title, that's still duplicate content. Write your own content. And then outsource your content needs. Have someone else write it for you and make it easy on you. Okay, so the next steps for home care marketing, you want to go to ltcsocialmark.com and sign up for the free stuff and watch the videos. There's a great video on Google authorship that you need to see. And you can see all kinds of great videos. In fact, all of them are on our video page. So go there, fill out the form, and then you can watch the videos. The link will be emailed to you. You can email George Novison for a flyer that explains our content strategy for home care agencies and for other senior service providers. So we have a PDF that we can email to you so you can see what we do. And I would recommend you outsource your content needs. And whether you use us or someone else doesn't really matter. Make it easy on yourself, but use someone who's responsible, good, a U.S.-based writer who can do that for you, who understands search engine optimization. So if you have questions, you can. I'm going to take questions here. I am going to take questions here in just a second. But you can call us or email us. The phone number is 888-404-1513. You can leave us a message and let us know your callback number. We'll call you back. Or you can email George at ltcep.com, and that is an L for those of you who aren't sure. Sometimes people think it's an I. It's George at ltcep.com, as in long-term care experts, LTC experts, ltcep.com. Okay, questions. I know folks have questions, so what I want you to do is I want you to go to your little thing that you have there. You can ask questions. You can type something in. I will take questions on a first-come, first-served basis. I will read all of them. I will give you the answers to any question that you have, or the best answer I can give you given the time frame that we have. Or you can just call us or email us. But I would love to answer some of your questions about content, where to put it, where to get it, how to get ideas for it, how often should you do it. There's all kinds of questions in your brain, and I'm sure other people are thinking them too. So let me hear your questions or see your questions. Oh my goodness, there are a few. How can I download the handout? Let's see. Oh, people are looking for a PowerPoint handout. We don't give out PowerPoints, but we will be sending you the replay of this video so you can do that. Let's see. Is it possible to get a soft copy of the slides? I will send out the video replay, but we don't send out our slides because they belong to us. Are you recommending setting up multiple websites like reducedhospitalreadmissions.com in addition to your main site? No, I'm not recommending that each of you go out and set up multiple websites for yourself on different topics. What I'm recommending is that there are already websites out there that do this. You know, liveandcareforseniors.com, reducedhospitalreadmissionrates.com. These websites are already there, and if you want to be a contributor to them, you can. If you like the list, I mentioned that George can send you a PDF of like it's a downloadable copy of what we do for people. You're welcome to get that, and I think the list of all the websites is on there, so you can see the authority sites that we already have. I will tell you that one of them, seniorcarestress.com, is under construction today, so you will not be able to see that one, but the rest of them are live. There are 7 of them, 6 or 7 of them. homecaredaily.com is one of them. We usually do press releases, more of a newsy site, but there's all kinds of them out there. Can I get a copy of this PowerPoint? Yes. Well, no, I won't send out the PowerPoint copy, but I'll send you the video. Please go over what localized content might look like. Good question, Lori. Localized content can be a couple of different things. First of all, you can have an article written. Let's say you, I'll use the example that I used earlier, which is the top 10 craft ideas for Alzheimer's patients and their families. Something to do, during the day so things aren't so boring with your caregiver, those kinds of things. If that's the case and you want to write an article like that, you want to make sure that you title it and you interject in there that, where it is that you're writing from and who you are and what you're doing. And so you want to use a town like Elder Care in Branford, Connecticut, the top 10 craft ideas for Alzheimer's patients and their caregivers, or something like that. So use your city and state in some of your titles and some of the mentions during the article and at the end of the article, and that will localize your content. But the other one that's really good is something we call company news, just to give it a different name. And that is, if you're attending a senior fair, if you're going to be in the Alzheimer's Walk this fall, if you're going to do something that's about your office, that kind of content is awesome, especially if it contains pictures of the staff or the senior fair sign or the logo or directions or whatever. Those kinds of things are really interesting to people, so that's really good localized content, and that's what's going to help you tremendously. Be a community resource. Do you write content for any other industries outside of home health care? We can. We write outside of home health care, but we like to keep it in the senior service genre. So we do wheelchair ramp stuff. We do all kinds of like senior safety issues, live-in care, reducing hospital readmission rates. I mean, they're not all definitely just for home care, but some of them are. So we have content written for anything in the senior service industry. Can you review again how you get a small picture to show up on a Google search? Oh, well, that's called Google authorship, William. And Google authorship is something that we take very seriously and that we do for all of our clients. So if you want to know more about Google authorship, there's a video on LTC Social Mark about Google authorship. It's the webinar we did last month, and you can watch that one to get the whole story. How can I add testimonials to my site? David. Oh, David, just email us or send it to support@ltcepsupport.com, and we'll talk to you about testimonials. No problem there. Can you send a PDF? I'm not sure what that means, but I will just send you the replay of this and some other information. Do I have to pay for ongoing support to keep my website in the top of the search categories? I would say yes. If you stop posting to your website, you stop maintaining your website, if you stop updating your website, then you're not going to stay on the first page of Google for very long. You have to have a fresh, clean website that's virus-free, that has good content on it, in order to stay in the search engine, up on the search engine ranks for all the different keyword phrases that you want to be there for, and all the towns that you want to show up for. You have to keep it fresh, or you're going to lose. Does your ltcsocialmark.com cover Google authorship and Google authenticated bio? Yes, we cover all of that. When we set up a new client, and we've even gone back and done this for all of our current clients, we always put people into the Google authorship mode because there is no better SEO today than Google authorship. How do I send one article to all of my social media? Well, Sherry, you can do it manually, or you can send it out as a feed. You can use programs like Twitter Feed or Deliver It, and they will send it out to all of your accounts. Do you find assisted living industry to be very aggressive online or high competition? I don't find that. I do find in some markets, Samuel, that assisted living it just depends on the metropolitan area that you're in. I find that it is aggressive when it comes to the big giant corporations, but I don't find it's no worse than the home care industry. And home care is probably more aggressive, but I would say it's all up there. Anything in senior care is going to be a big deal these days, and the bigger your market is or the bigger metro area you live in, the more difficult it becomes. Let's see. Do you work with more than one home health care agency in a specific area, or do you give exclusive territories? Well, what we do is we limit the territories to 2 to 3. It depends on how big the metro area is. You know, a city like Chicago can take on a couple of different offices, but a city like, Branford, or, you want to make sure that everybody's covering a different territory. If it's a small town or out in the middle of nowhere in a rural area, that's harder to have 2 or 3. But if it's a big metro area or half of a state, then yes, we can take 2 or 3, but that's it. And the reason we limit that, we don't guarantee exclusivity unless, I always say this, I do not guarantee exclusivity unless you want to send my triplet daughters to college, and then I will guarantee exclusivity for the rest of your life. Or you could pay George's college bills, right, for all of his kids. So, just see, do you work with one? So that's the answer to that. We do, but we limit ourselves because we know that we're competing against ourselves if it gets too intense. Who determines the subject matter for content that is provided? Is there a menu of items that are then customized? Peter, we have a set of keyword phrases that we work on, and we determine the subject matter based on those keyword phrases. We also take into consideration some of the things that are going on in the month. So, like, for instance, I mentioned Grandparents' Day. I mentioned it's Senior Health Month. Those kinds of things, we take that into consideration when we're writing our content because it's relevant to the industry, but it's also a timing perspective. We want to talk about things that are happening in September. So lots of things go into our content plans. How do you create unique content for so many users, especially in the same market? How is the content distributed? Well, I'm not going to go into how we get all the content to all the different places. We have staff that does that. But we are very creative, and we do work with our writers to make sure they have great ideas. And we let our writers, they have lots of rules they have to follow with regard to search engine optimization, but they are allowed to use their own creativity too. And it is very hard to find a good writer in this market. Michael, I'll be honest with you. It is a hard job. It's not hard to write 100 articles one time, I would say, but it is very hard to write 100 articles week after week after week after week. And they all have to be 100% unique and copyscape free. So that's something that we have to work very hard at. And that's why people outsource it to us, because it is so hard. How do I set up how to set up Google Plus account? I get calls from firms all the time that want to set up my Google Plus account. Dave, that's because it's a hot topic, and it's not just about Google Plus or Google Places. It's about Google authorship too. It all relates to each other. So you need to have a presence on Google, you need to have a presence as a human being, and you need to include Facebook, and you need to include LinkedIn and that, and then you also need to have your place on the map, and you also need to have authorship. It is a complicated puzzle of insanity, and there are those of us who have figured it out, but but that's our specialty. So I don't know that just setting up a Google Plus account is going to help you, but when you include content provisioning in that, see, here's the problem. There are all kinds of local SEO experts and companies out there that would be happy to set up do all of your business listings for you and set up your website and do this and that. But if you ask them, are you going to blog post for me every single week about home care so that I can move up in the search engine rankings and stay there? They're going to say no, because they can't, because they don't have the staff, because that's not their job, because they didn't ever have to rely on that before. They could just throw up a website, search engine optimize it, put you in a bunch of business listing directories, and there you go. It doesn't work that way anymore. You have to have content. You have to have it now. You have to have it every day. You have to have it every week. You have to keep doing it and keep it fresh and keep it engaging, and you have to have social media to go with it. It's a long process. So outsourcing is always the best idea, but who you outsource it to is really the big question. And I don't think there are very many other firms out there besides us. I consider, if I were you, I'd either do it myself or outsource this to someone who's going to provide you with excellent content every week on home care or whatever your senior care services. What topics are most popular? Education, anecdotes, etc. Most popular contents are usually content is actually stories about folks who have a similar issue as most adult children of aging parents who are in the sandwich generation who find themselves with an aging adult. So stories, writers write stories about people. They're not real stories, but just examples. Those are really popular. Anything to do with usually ideas on recipes, crafts, and just the general caregiver stress kind of articles are really engaging usually. So we try to keep it mixed up, but what's really good, what's really everyone's favorite is pictures of staff, pictures of people. It doesn't have to be clients for HIPAA violation reasons, but pictures of you all doing activities are what really turns people on. They want to see who it is they're doing business with, and they want to know that you all are engaged in your community. And when they can see that you were at the local senior fair with a smile on your face, handing a winning gift certificate to some senior there, that's the kind of stuff they want to see. How long does SEO take for my website to put me at the top of the searches? That's kind of a maybe strange question. You can SEO your website one time, but you have to keep adding to it forever and ever to stay at the top. Do you also recommend participation in PPC? PPC is pay-per-click, which is Google pay-per-click for those of you who aren't aware. Let's see. I do if you need leads faster and you need them while you're waiting for your organic search results, your natural search engine results to catch up. So you're not on the first page of Google today, but you need to start getting calls today. Pay-per-click can help with that. I don't think it's a good long-term solution by any stretch of the imagination. Plus, it's super expensive and it has zero like longevity. So the minute you turn that Google pay-per-click campaign off, you're gone. With organic content, as long as you're adding to it, the content stays there, the links stay there, and it's there forever. It doesn't just disappear once the blogging stops. So I would say that the good long-term solution is to make sure you have a content strategy. The good short-term solution to get you over the hump while you're waiting is to do a little pay-per-click. Okay, what do you think about network content such as blogging about friendly competitor program or new opening? How about network content? I'm not sure if I understand what that means, Samuel. You'll have to maybe explain it to me more in support. About blogging about friendly competitor program. I do think that's important. If you have folks that you like to work with, maybe you aren't your competitors, trading blog posts with them is always a good idea. You know, writing something for their website, them writing something for yours. That's never going to harm your website. Do you recommend specific web hosts for your accounts? I'm not sure what that means, web hosts. You mean where you host your website? We use Rackspace, if that helps, but in the cloud. But I don't. Other than that, I'm not sure what you mean by that. How do I ensure my content is authentic for testimonials while keeping privacy concerns in mind? Do I need to get permission from my employees and clients, or do I change the names to protect? You do both. You get permission and you use initials. You can use like first name, last initial. So always get permission from somebody before you use their testimonial on your website, and also make sure that you're only using first names and last initials or just initials. That's how you protect folks. What do you think about Hootsuite? I think it's great, but you don't need to manage, if you need to manage multiple accounts over a period of time, I have no problem with Hootsuite, but I think it has its place. I think if you have one Facebook page, that's all you really need to do is concentrate on that Facebook page. You don't really need Hootsuite. What is George's email address? It is george@ltcep.com. LTC, like long-term care, EP.com. george@ltcep.com. So what should you pay for this service? Well, I'll let George send you the flyer so you can see what the pricing looks like. It's you know, it depends on how much you need. George, I'll let you speak to that. How much should people pay for this service? They should probably pay about $1 million an hour, right?
Well,
I'm just kidding.
when we implement a program for a client, if it's a complete program, what I can say this, it'll cost you half as much if you at least at the most than what it will cost you to do yourself. And that means that if you ever had to have your staff or somebody you hire write articles, put out an electronic newsletter, make sure all the software is maintained and the feeds are maintained to social media, and to go out and actually get unique content or write the unique content and even get access to other sites, it's an unwieldy task. It's extremely expensive. What we've done is put together an operation where, because we're in one vertical market of elder care, we optimize our operation to get the work done as efficiently as possible. So something that could cost you in the thousands costs you in the hundreds. And that's the reality of running a small business. You don't want to take up your time if you're the owner and your time's worth over $100 an hour, or you want it to be worth over $100 an hour, then you got to be working on more important stuff than that. So I'll be glad to, you know, if people want to call or talk about this specific situation. You can get some standard pricing on the content delivery programs when I send you out a document. But then also we have to look at where you're starting from. And now you're starting from a good website. Are you starting from a place where the content will be helpful? Or do you need to actually put yourself in a place where the content will be helpful? So, but the net, what, you know, when you look at all the things that have to be done and that we do for what amounts to a small business in a territory, it's a very efficiently priced service that very few companies, or we haven't found almost any companies, at least in the home care market, doing.
Right. I think one of our clients said something that I found really interesting not too long ago, and he said, you know, you could, and this was a New Jersey client, and he said, I could hire a marketer, I could hire a salesperson, and many of you still need to have that. I'm not saying you don't. I'm just saying that this is his observation. I can hire a salesperson or a marketer for $60,000 a year. And now this is a big company in the whole state of New Jersey. He said, or I can do internet marketing and forget about the benefits and forget about all the other stuff that goes into that, and I can get all my leads off of the internet. And this is someone who is not shy about spending money on the internet either, and pay, you know, what, a third of that or less each year for good leads and referrals and things like that. So there's all kinds of opinions out there. As a salesperson with the benefits or all the things that you have to do to go into paying another employee to go out there and meet and greet, and are they going to be worth their weight? And if they don't work out, how much is it going to cost you to hire someone else? Everybody needs to be out there networking. There's no doubt about that. It just depends on how big you are and how much money you have to spend on it. But done right, not just throwing a website up on the internet, but if you do it right, the internet can be totally nothing compared to the cost of having a full-time employee. So it's just an observation, but it has to be done correctly, that's for sure. Okay.
One other point on that.
Sure. Go ahead.
One other point on that is that you know, a lot of people, obviously, they start their business. Some people start their business with only referral marketing, going out and talking to people, because that's all. They don't have the cash to do online marketing. The people who have been in business for a fairly long time and have committed to the Internet for a fairly long time get a substantial amount of their business from the Internet. There's no quick solutions to win the Internet anymore. It's very crowded and competitive. But what's also important to know and to realize is that every referral partner you make still has the option to recommend 3 companies to any family, and probably do in a lot of cases just to keep themselves safe. They might give out 3 names of home care companies to say you might use one of these companies, or you might want to use one of these 2 companies. In the end, you're going to be in competition with somebody else, and that's because of the cost and the expense and the unknowns of home care and the quality issues. So your online presence needs to back up what you're saying in person or what your marketing person is saying in person to referral partners. They need to go online and see, yeah, this is a substantial company. They know what they're doing. They have a lot of good testimonials. They've satisfied the needs of a lot of clients in the communities that they live in. And they're knowledgeable about the topics. So in a lot of cases, I see the more mature companies now are integrating their online and offline marketing strategies into one cohesive program where they support each other and know that they support each other. So they know that the referral partner is going to run into a lot of great testimonials if they send a client or a prospect to you. So it's something to think about as you progress and divvy up your marketing budgets into different categories. We're finding it more and more online and offline are getting more complementary.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that's all very good advice and very true. We find that definitely folks are getting a lot, they see the value in having a very good online presence after a while. Okay, I'm finished up these last few questions here. How does outsourced authorship become your own? Who ultimately owns the content and is legally obliged? Michael. Michael, everybody who participates in our programs, when we write an article for them, it becomes their content. And it is theirs alone. It is not ours. We do not put our name on it. We don't put our copyright on it. We just make sure that it is unique and it is their content. Do you recommend a referral or partnership content on websites? You can, exchanging links is a thing of the past. But if you have really good content, someone wants to contribute to your website or you want to contribute to theirs, I don't see any problem with that. I'm sorry I had to step away. Did you review your services rates to become a client? No, but if you email George at ltcep.com or call us, he will send that to you via in a PDF format. What is a greater impact, text or video? Text is going to have a greater impact than video as far as search engine optimization. As far as user experience, video is excellent. Would you be able to write for the Canadian, specifically Ontario market, or do you know of any Canadian counterparts? Yes, we have had Canadian clients in the past. We understand the differences in the marketplace there, and we can write and we can do the same thing for Canada. What is preventing a competitor from stealing content you provide me once it's published? Michael, if your competitors want to steal your content, they can do that, but it will be of no use to them to do that. So, in other words, if you have that article I've been using as my example, top 10 craft ideas for Alzheimer's clients, and you have that on your website, and then, a month later, somebody stumbles upon it and thinks, "Ooh, I'm going to put that on my blog," and they do that. Guess what? It's called duplicate content, and so Google will ignore it because it is duplicated from yours. You were the first person to put it up there, so it's going to probably ignore it if your neighbor tries to use it too. And also there are some, copyright violation issues, so you have to make sure that,
One more point on that.
Sure.
Val. This is where Google authorship becomes extremely important. If you take the time, trouble, and expense to write an article, and you don't lock it in with good verified Google authorship, and then you're left to the issues that Valerie said, timing and the like. But if that article appears with your authorship, you can actually publish it on other sites, and you won't get hurt. For duplicate content. But especially that second person that tries to publish that content won't get any value at all. So this verified Google is doing this exactly for that reason, is identifying the person, the author, and putting a lot of emphasis on the author versus the content so that they can single things out. It's going to get rid of a lot of duplicate content. It's going to get rid of machine-generated content. And SEO, the kind of weird things that SEO people were doing for a long time to try to generate ranking. So I would pay a lot of attention to being a verified Google author.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, last question or comment. My daughter is a professor at a top 10 college and cost per year $60,000 plus. You better sell lots of product, yes? Well, Dave, yes, it is not a cheap, yes, college is expensive, and I think you're just kind of kidding around, so I'll leave it at that. But yes, if you do your content provisioning correctly, you will generate more leads than your competitor who is not doing their content provisioning correctly. But there are other things that go into it. You still have to network. You still have to do other things to generate leads. But if you relied on internet marketing and you did it correctly and you were committed to it and you had a strategy for it, you would find that your bottom line would go up tremendously over the course of a year. So I think that's it. I think that is all the questions that I have on my screen anyway. So with that, we're going to end the webinar. I want to thank everybody for sticking with us and for being on the webinar with us today. I will send out the replay to everyone. If you need more help, contact George at ltcep.com, and he will be happy to send you out some more information. You can call us at 888-404-1513. Thanks, everybody, so much. Thank you, George, and everybody have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.